Yeah, look, so Thomas Mayer, I just want to pay my respects to the Gulmutch people and thank them for their welcome on this very special place. It's my first time here and it's just an amazing place. The feeling I think we all have from being here is special and memorable. I am the branch secretary of the Maritime Union in the Northern Territory, but I participated in the process as a Torres Strait Islander. Torres Strait Islander that's born and bred on Larrakia country in Darwin, and I have a very strong connection with those people in my community and have been an advocate for some time now, thanks to my trade union learning. I started on the wharf as a 17-year-old, and there were some really strong leaders on the wharf in Darwin, and nationally that I got to meet as a delegate on the wharf, and there was with my union, like many, there is a strong sense of social justice. But one of the things that I learnt when I became an official, or even as a delegate in negotiations for enterprise agreements, is the importance of structure as far as leadership goes, and importantly in the treaty discussion, also a framework that assists certainly the party that is less resourced, which is usually the workers. So a framework is what was discussed as far as the Makarrata Commission, agreement making, and making sure that there are fair negotiations. If you do not have a framework for negotiations, how do you force the stronger party to stay and negotiate? And how do you ensure that your leverage can be exercised in a way that advantages your side? There's also the matter of accountability. You can make agreements, but you need both parties to be accountable to the commitments. And in the dialogues and at Uluru, this is something that was an important consideration, as Megan said, those international experiences that we have. And when the Uluru Statement from the Heart came out, that was all very carefully considered. We already had commitments to treaty, Victoria, South Australia, Northern Territory announcing that they're interested in going down that path. And so, we need to put something behind that to ensure that bargaining is fair, that there is a national framework so that we are building from each other and nobody is going backwards in that sense, and we're learning from each other as we go. The other thing is just noting, what Minister Kayam talked about was how much dollars the state or the federal government might put into supporting treaty making. And it struck me that without a framework to ensure that negotiations are conducted in good faith and a fair way, those dollars may go down the drain when agreements can't be reached and the parties can't be brought together and there isn't some sort of an umpire. I just want to talk a bit about my journey to Uluru and to here. I was going to be one of the facilitators in the Darwin Dialogue, and because of my union work I ended up having to pull out of that, and I became a delegate and was elected to go to Uluru. But when I got involved in the process, I learnt about the process, the 12 that became 13 dialogues, the meeting, the culmination of those dialogues in Uluru to try and find a consensus on what our people wanted. I thought, wow, what an amazing opportunity for our people. And I asked the elders in the room, in the dialogue, I asked, has there ever been an opportunity like this for us in the past? A resourced, informed discussion that considers those things that have happened in the past, those good bits of legislation that we've had that have been struck out so easily, with constitutional lawyers in the room, with presentations on our history, considering what went wrong, what we've done right. And the answer was there hasn't been something like this before. So I thought we must grab this with both hands, this opportunity that became the Uluru Statement from the Heart. And I think we all need to respect and understand that those people in those dialogues, the people at Uluru, were grassroots people. They were the people, many of them, that had fought for many, many years, decades, on the streets, that did the hard yards. And there were some brave decisions made about what was in the Uluru Statement from the Heart. And we must all respect that, and we must make the brave decision ourselves to support what came out of that. One of the things that struck me it was a journey of learning for me, because I was a long way off knowing as much as our esteemed colleague and learned people like Megan. But there's been many statements, there's been many petitions, recommendations that have just been ignored, gathered dust in a museum. We've talked about that over the last couple of days. And so that, if you were to look at all of that, if you were to read all those statements, that collection of aspirations of our people, all that hope, it's a history of powerlessness. It really is. And it's a cruel reality of the racist ignorance to a human crisis that started in 1788. And so, ultimately, my point is that there must be that brave decision that I talked about, and there must be action. And we heard our politicians talking over the last couple of days, talking it up, and some solid commitments from one side, less from the other. We need to nail this home, and we need your support. We need everybody here that has experienced this really spiritual and lifting Garma 2017 to not just walk away from here and say, that was great, support the Uluru Statement in your mind, but have the conversations with your friends, your families, your work colleagues. But also, I'm going to pass around, there should be something going around to give you contact details, and I'll have it at the kitchens there soon. Please give us your contact details, because there is going to need to be a need for a push. We understand that the first hurdle is a parliamentarians to make that decision to enter into a process in partnership with us that delivers the outcome of the Uluru Statement from the Heart. Thank you.